My friends, Social Security will run out of money in the next 10 years. This is not up for debate, but there are three things that you need to understand about what that means. And more importantly, one thing that you can be doing about the eventual running out of Social Security. So the first thing you need to know is that Social Security has always been running out of money. Ida Mae Fuller, you can Google her. Ida Mae Fuller was the first person to collect Social Security in January of 1940. Her first check was $22.75. Not a big check, but $22 went a lot further then than it does now. Ida Mae Fuller went on to live till age 100. She died in 1975. She collected a total of $22,000 of benefits from Social Security. Now, $22,000 may not sound like a lot, but in today's dollars, once we adjust for inflation, that's the equivalent of $500,000. So in today's dollars, Ida Mae Fuller collected $500,000 over her lifetime from Social Security. But how much did Ida Mae Fuller pay in taxes? In other words, how much money did she put into the system versus how much she got out of the system? This may surprise you. It surprises me every time. Ida Mae Fuller paid a grand total of $24 into Social Security. So she paid $24 in, got $22,000 back out, and we wonder why Social Security is continually running out of money. Now, some people will say, hey, Ida Mae is an exception. She was the first person to claim benefits. Doesn't really matter. The system has always been paying out more in benefits than it's collecting. Now, we can debate why that is and how things could change, but that's not really the point of today. The point number one for today is that it's always been running out of money. Point number two that we all need to understand about Social Security is that it has run out of money before. In 1982, Time magazine ran a cover article with a picture of a Social Security card torn up, asking how much can the nation afford? Because at that time, Social Security was just a few years from running out of money, right? So we've seen this before. So at that time, they did what you can, the only thing is you can do, and what will have to happen again, we'll talk about that in point number three, they cut benefits and they raised taxes. Now, they cut benefits by taxing Social Security. That's a nuance we'll talk about in another video. And they raised taxes by increasing the tax rate on people still working and making all new federal employees go in, including members of Congress, go into the Social Security program. At that time, they estimated that these two changes would buy them 50 years of funding, which in fact it did. Social Security is expected to make it to the early 2030s, which is roughly 50 years from where they made that change. So again, point number two to understand is Social Security has run out of money in the past. Point number three, which is often missed, when Social Security runs out of money, it won't in fact be out of money. So in the early 2030s, which is only 5 or 7 years from now, the Social Security Trust Fund or the savings account for Social Security will run out of money, but Social Security will still be collecting taxes on everyone who's still working. And those taxes will be about enough to pay 80 cents on the dollar. Now, what does that mean? It means if you were getting $2,000 a month from Social Security and nothing else changes, once the savings account runs out, you'll now get $1,600 a month. So 80% of your promised benefit. Now, between now and then, but probably not until the last minute, Congress will do something about this. We're not sure what, but if the trust fund is allowed to run out and no other changes are made, you'll get about 80% of what you otherwise would have gotten, or about $1,600 a month instead of $2,000 a month. So what can be done about this? Well, if history is any guide, and if basic math is any guide, Congress only has two options to preserve the benefit. They can either have someone receive less than they were promised, or have someone else pay more than what they were already paying, or some combination of the two. Now, we've seen this again in the past. In 1980s, Congress did that. They reduced benefits by pushing out the full retirement age and making Social Security subject to the income tax, and they raised taxes by taxing everyone who was still working. Some combination of that will likely happen again, though my bet would be that no change will be made until the last possible second. So what can we do about this? Well, short of sending angry letters to your favorite or least favorite member of Congress, the most important thing that any person can do to prepare for this is to put as much money as they possibly can into a Roth IRA account, also known as a tax-free account. Now, the nuances of how to do this or how much to do this are beyond the scope of this video, but the reason we want to do this is that when benefits are inevitably cut, they will be cut more for people that have money than for people who don't have money. This video is not about the fairness of that. It's just the reality of that's what we've already seen with Medicare. It's what they did with Social Security in the 1980s. And so if you have a lot of money in IRA accounts, and if you have a lot of income coming in retirement, you will likely see your benefit cut more than other people. And so the more money you can get into a tax-free bucket, also known as a Roth IRA, the less likely it is that your benefits will be cut in the future. And again, we'll talk Roth IRA accounts in another video. The last thing that you can do, and this one comes from my dad, is a lesson he taught me again and again, which is we will cross that bridge when we get to it. What will actually happen to Social Security is anyone's guess. It will certainly be the subject of endless political banter back and forth, but at some point it will change and we'll deal with those changes at that time. In other words, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for now, make sure you understand how the system works and get as much money in that Roth account as you possibly can. And until next time, happy planning.